Hey racists, let's talk. Racists are obsessed with having authority over Black Indigenous Americans, but they can't handle their nervous system quite yet, so they haven't done the complete overhaul that they've wanted to. They will assert aggressive yet lackluster dominance in the moment, but the second they receive that dominant energy back, they just can't handle it. They start shaking like a tree. Slurred speech. Incoherent or irrelevant resolve just to maintain control, or look like they have dominance over the situation. Their adrenal glands are just on fucking fire. Some of them even pass out because they can't handle it. Even in those recent fishing videos where Black people can't even fish in peace, they just think that they have the authority over the entire world. Even in public places, they believe that they have the authority to tell people what they can and cannot do, which is fucking crazy. You want me to honestly believe that they did not try to colonize every single piece of land? They can't stop thinking they have authority over everything. All of this hate when you could just give Black Indigenous Americans their land back and admit that you're fucking obsessed with everything they do. Everything!
Grand rising kings and queens from Africa and across the ocean. I just want to say thank you first. Thank you for tuning in, for standing strong and for seeking the truth. Now, today I'm about to unpack something deep. When saying I'm about to unpack, I want to dive deep into something. There is a white man here, one of their own, I'll say that. And he got real. He got real and he exposed something that his people don't want you to hear. He said this: white people are obsessed with Black people, obsessed with Black bodies, obsessed with Black culture, Black resilience, but most importantly, obsessed with having control over Black people. Now, we have talked about obsession, white obsession to Black people for 2 to 3 times. But again, I'm coming in a different angle because we need to understand. And that's why I'm doing this again. And this video that I'm going to show you, this white man didn't stuffer. He said it plainly that white people are addicted to authority, but not just any authority, but authority over Black people. So it's not about racism. It's about power addiction. So, before I continue with my commentary, with my ranting, I want you to watch this clip first. After watching, we come back here and we talk.
Alright, racists, let's talk about your obsession with Black language ingenuity. Racist America can't finish a tweet, a TikTok, a marketing campaign, or a late night show without using AAVE. And let's set the record straight in the beginning. There is no such thing as Gen Z lingo. Let's also make it clear that racist Americans have clowned and insulted Black Indigenous Americans for the very things they're obsessed with now. They have called the coded language that Black people created broken English, ghetto slang, and uneducated. But for some reason, they can't get their thin lips to stop imitating the vernacular. Racists have always motioned that AAVE is improper. Yet, we can't get them to part ways with FAFO, as if they used that saying in common language before Black people introduced them to the saying. Now they've made it their entire online identity.
Biggie, she is not one of them. Yeah, fuck you talking about. Mrs. Put that shit on. Fuck you talking about.
The obsession is pathological at this point. It's linguistic theft in broad daylight. Racist America doesn't just steal Black Indigenous language, it feeds on it. It watches every syllable, every cadence, every phrase that sparks electricity in Black mouths, and rushes to repurpose it with the same crack jaw it used to laugh at them. They ban it from classrooms. They flag it in job interviews. They even weaponize it in courtrooms. Then turned around and made it a brand aesthetic. Racists have created a system for their theft broken down into 3 simple steps. Step 1. They ridicule you, saying things like, "You sound dumb." Or, "That's not real English. Talk proper." No matter the generation, every Black Indigenous kid had to experience the hatred for simply falling in line with creation. Step 2. They rebrand your content and speech, coming up with ways to justify their theft. Saying things like, "It's just internet lingo. It's Gen Z language. It's stan culture." Suddenly saying, "Period, sis. It's giving. No cap. I'm dead. Say less." As if that's how they normally speak. Step 3. They profit. They turn your language into a product. They fully engulf themselves in exploitation, salivating at the opportunity to make millions off of something that they found. The thing that they have most in common with their ancestors. White influencers build careers speaking in tongues they never grew up with.
It's time to get to the money and stack that shit like cups of lean. The fuck? Anyway, Fashion Nova's on my body. Turn that shit off.
CEOs hire agencies that run ads that drip with stolen flavor. Brands will slap vibe check on a hoodie while arresting Black Indigenous youth for threatening speech, all because they asked, "Why are you stopping me?" AAVE isn't a trend. It's a living technology. Black Indigenous people crafted an entire speech under surveillance. It's rhythm and science encrypted inside grammar. AAVE is not a cute filter that you use to mask your bland existence. You don't get to use it for clout and then panic when Black Indigenous people speak it authentically. A white TikToker using AAVE gets brand deals. But a Black Indigenous person using the same exact words gets labeled aggressive, unprofessional, or a threat. You didn't invent its giving. You just heard it from someone that you ignore in real life. You're not fluent. You're parasitic. Black speech isn't your accessory. It's a weapon you repackaged as content. You don't speak like them just because you grew up in their neighborhood. You perform like them. There's a difference. If you're not defending Black people, don't you dare try to sound like them. It's not internet culture. It's Black genius under a 200+ year siege. So the next time you say on God, ask yourself, what God taught me that? All right, racists, let's talk about your obsession with the country you had no hand in building, Tamerica, or as you were propagandized to know it as, the US, thus pointing to the very obvious fact, your patriotism is a hallucination. You're obsessed with a country that doesn't exist. The entire American narrative is a glitch in the historical matrix, a plantation-born hallucination, where the thief worships the house he broke into, while calling the rightful owners squatters. Who laid the bricks? Who mapped the land? Who birthed the systems of agriculture, astronomy, governance, and healing that predates European incest-filled monarchies? Black Americans, the indigenous engineers. The first doctors weren't in white coats. They were barefoot in stolen soil, mixing root systems and spirit codes that kept entire populations alive. John Hanson, the first president under the Articles of Confederation, was not white. He was a black man. That fact alone fractures their entire patriotic theater. They hallucinate Washington with cherry trees while ignoring that governance, infrastructure, and social complexity had already been in motion under Black American leadership. Not symbolically, structurally. So what does racist America do? It performs a kind of ancestral psychosis. They cosplay being creators while having created nothing. They teach lies in textbooks, build statues to illusions, and write songs to plagiarize soil. They want you to believe that Blackness emerged from mud huts and chaos. That this land had no cities, no scholars, no calendars. Yet not one racist could explain who built the nearly 2,000 pyramids on this soil. Not even the Siberian ones posing as natives, the supposed original people. Then why don't your ancestors have a single fingerprint on the ancient mounds of this land? But you'd rather claim that the people who can't create an industry outside of casinos created the world that we all exist in? Yeah, absolutely not. Whiteness is obsessed with America because it needs the lie. It needs the myth to justify the theft. That's why they ban the books, burn the archives, and murder the historians. Not because the truth isn't known, but because the truth exposes their irrelevance. And the truth? The entire economic base of early America was cotton, sugar, tobacco, Black labor, Black intellect, and Black suffering. Even the very notion of American democracy. It was mimicked from indigenous confederacies and Black communal models. They don't love America. They're obsessed with the fantasy of their authorship. But history already wrote them out. This country didn't start as a democracy. It started as an empire. One governed by Black people. One hijacked, fragmented, rewritten, and gentrified by thieves in powdered wigs. Your favorite founding fathers were lesser men in a greater Black experiment. Whiteness didn't found America. It ruined it. This week we're going to talk about how corporate America used their obsession as a weapon. Corporate America displayed their obsessions by creating intentional rules and regulations to limit Black people's expression in their offices. These rules were put in place to disable the natural security and posture of Black people's power, displayed with the endless creative styles and flexibility achievable with their natural hair. Forced Black women to adopt unnatural hairstyles or Eurocentric hairstyles, all to shrink and humble them. Imagine trying to dominate or shrink an area that Black women naturally dominate. I don't understand that. Black men, too, were also forced to cut their hair as well in unnatural hairstyles that made absolutely no sense in an effort to shrink their masculinity or to shrink the power that they have in the office. The obsession and the weaponization of Black people's hair is Truly immature. To attack people for simply existing speaks to your inferiority, honestly. So ending this segment, to all you privileged, delusional people, I'm gonna stare right into the camera. All of this hate when you could just admit that you're obsessed. Now it's time to talk about the men that can't seem to take their hands off of children. And out of respect for all of the victims like myself, that's all I'll say about that. If you know, you know. As we discussed with black women's hair, black men's hair too bears a very odd obsession. I'm sure you've noticed at all of the various college campuses and high schools that the sudden straight hair kids now are obsessed with curly hair and a fade. A clear indicator of replicating what they see, which is simply theft. Privileged women have a tendency to hold space for such hatred within their gifts, and privileged men will unapologetically steal from a black man, no problem. Which actually brings me to the obsession of black man's masculinity. Privileged men are obsessed with black men's masculinity. They obsess over the ability of the black man to shine in any circumstance. Even at the hands of the abusers, the police. Privileged men would more than likely cross-dress before they could ever fully exude the levels of godlike masculinity that black men naturally have. Privileged people hide their obsessions behind hatred, when they could just admit they're obsessed with black people. You've all waited for it, and now here it is. Obsessions, a series. Let's kick it off right away. Here is one way the welfare Olympians are obsessed with black Americans. White women are too obsessed with everyone's hair but their own. They are obsessed with different braid styles, sew-ins, and even claiming a recent stake of ownership in lace front wigs. They have so much to say, but can't back it up because of their ego. And because they are so in their ego, they are too afraid to admit that they're obsessed with any and every style that black women do. They use obsessive and demeaning and unnecessary comments like, "Is it real?" or "Is it all yours?" Insane entitlement, thinking that you can just touch a black woman's hair, being super confused when they say no. They even laugh about it when they are told no because they are that obsessed and think that they are that entitled to touch a black woman's hair. They literally think it's a God-given right. They demand to touch it. They will search to the very ends of their Mary Poppins bag to find a comment to say, "I promise you." White women and men do not have creative motivation. So when they see black people have creative motivation, they become obsessed with the ideas that they see. They aren't able to breed creativity, so they become obsessed with the creative expression that they choose not to have. In simple terms, it's laziness. They are so mad and obsessed that they're now getting laws created to limit black creative expression. All of this hate when they could just admit that they're obsessed. What's tea, racists? Let's talk. Racists are obsessed with staring at black Indigenous Americans at every turn. They think that they're invisible, like their gaze doesn't carry history. But that look? That is the psychic residue of centuries of unpunished surveillance. From auction blocks to plantation porches, from boarding schools, and yes, even broken police body cams. Whiteness operates like a haunted algorithm. They are programmed to stare, to scan, to surveil. Because if they're not looking at you, they might have to look at themselves and see the rot. And when you catch them staring, they suddenly pretend like they're going to tell you the color of the sky. This is envy disguised as caution, literally directing their head up to the sky as if they're having a conversation with God. This isn't just social awkwardness. This is fear posing as curiosity. This is the welfare Olympians putting their spiritual poverty on display in the presence of black Indigenous brilliance. They look because they lack. They watch because they want. They fixate because deep down, they know. They know that they are guests in a world built by the very people they stare at like exhibits. The next time one of them locks eyes on you like they're mapping your aura for resale, stare back. Smile. You're not being studied. You're being reminded of your power. And they can't stand it. Racists! You know what time it is. Let's talk. Question: why is it that when black Americans are parked in a wide open lot, total freedom, no one around, complete isolation, that a pale chariot comes around carrying Little Red Riding Hood, who just got lost on the way to Grandma's house, pulling up right next to them? It's not just weird. It's colonial. This is what I call settler spatial behavior, or also known as punk-ass parking. It's an inherited compulsion to occupy a space that a black body has claimed. Not because they need to, but because they must. This goes all the way back to stolen land and stolen lives, to squatting on Indigenous villages, to building suburbs on black displacements. White comfort demands their displacement. They are programmed to follow them, sit next to them, park right next to them, ask if the seat is taken next to them. And like dogs, they're afraid to be alone. Why? Because whiteness doesn't just crave safety. It craves proximity to what it fears and envies. It's not about the parking spot. It's about the psychological need to intrude. See, in settler colonial psychology, black solitude is unacceptable. Because if black people are alone, they might be safe. If they're safe, they might start remembering. And if they remember, racists are in trouble. So when you're parked in divine solitude and you see them swing their magic school bus right into the divine isolation of your peace and privacy, just know this. It's not by accident. That is the same energy as building plantations next to maroon settlements. The exact same algorithm that built Starbucks over sacred earth. The same weirdos that prefer pumpkin pie over sweet potato pie. So the next time someone's creeping into your solitude like a ghost on probation, just whisper to yourself, they've always needed to sit beside the power that they've tried to erase. All right, racists, let's talk. I'm just gonna come out and say it. A majority of white people wish that they were black. They wish that they had the ability to create or invent. They wish that they had the ability to wear a variety of hairstyles. They wish that they had the ability to dance. They wish that they had original fashion. They wish that their style was memorable. They wish that they were able to turn heads in public. They wish that they could spend more than 2 hours in the sun. They wish to be desired. They wish that they could smell as good as black people. They wish that they were as superior as black people. They wish that they were as athletic as black people. Even wish that they were indigenous and could be gifted an entire planet from the Most High. They wish that they could excel at music and the arts. They wish that they could be scholars like black people. They wish that they were as intelligent as black people. They wish that they could even cook like black people. They even wish that they could look as cool as black people do in their cars, which explains why they have the windows rolled down at all fucking times. And the real big one, they really wish that they could age as gracefully as black people do.
Welcome back. You have had the video of obsession. I know you have come across these videos a number of times, but I said I need to talk something. It is my space, and I want to talk something on this video because I realize that the system, they need to feel like they are the rulers, the bosses of the one in control. And that's why they created slavery. That's why they created colonization. That's why they built entire system. Legal, political, religious, all decided and designed to keep black people beneath them. And here is the truth that they don't want you to know, or they don't just want black people silent. They want us obedient. Not only silent, they want us obedient, they want us submissive, and they want us afraid as black people. But what happens when you flip the script? What happens when the black person stands tall, speaks truth, walks in divine power, and says, no, I don't deserve you? When a black person decides to talk like that, that's where the fear sets in. That's when their so-called civilization crumbles. That's when you hear them scream like, you're too loud, you're being aggressive, or you need to calm down, some things like that. The white man made it clear that the system they forced on black people, they can't survive under themselves. This system survives under the division of black people. This system survives under the poverty of black people. The system survives only when black people fears them, only when black people submit, only when black people are just quiet or nervous. So if the table was turned off, or if the table was to turn, if they had to walk in our shoes, even a day they could not survive. They could not survive. But guess what? They know it. They know it. And that's why they get keep power. That's why they call you a thug when you resist. That's why they strip your history from books, hide your real names, erase your kingdoms, demonize your skin tone, because deep down they are scared that we are superior as black people. They want to secure. They're scared of the truth. They want to secure their places. They're secure of the truth. Scared of the truth. Scared of the reckoning. Scared that the very people they tried to bury are now rising like Gentiles. So, what they do, they can't handle the same laws they gave us. They can't handle the same policing they gave us. They cannot handle the same treatment they gave us. If you take my white brother and sister and treat him or her the same black people are treated, it is different. It's evident when you are walking the road and you find a black person is maybe it's sick on the road, just lying there down, you may pass. But when a white person is there, you can't pass. You will stand to know what is the problem. And that's what they have been trying to do. We see them as saviors. We see them as they need our help more than the fellow black people. And I'll say this. One way of obsession is to control black people. But they don't want to be like us. They just want to control black people. And that's why when black people become successful, they say it is black privilege. That's why when black athletes win, they attack their character. That's why when black women walk confidently, they call it attitude. That's why when black men lead, they say it is threatening. But when they do it, it is leadership. When they do it, they call it patriotism. When they do it, they call it confidence. So I'll say this. The double standards are the disease of white supremacy. And if I may be clear, white people don't just wait to control. They don't want just to control us. They want to be us. To be us. Because they steal our music, but reject our faith. They copy our fashion, but never defined our lives. They date our bodies, but they don't love the family. That is the pure reality. It is pure reality. Now, what I'm saying there is called cultural obsession. They are obsessed with our culture, with our fashion, with everything. I think white obsession sometimes is not just about wanting to be like you. I just want to do the things you are doing, but not be like you. And that's why they gentrify everything we create. That's why they remix our stories. That's why they hire us for delivery, but silence us when we speak down. I'll say this. They want the rhythm, they want the source, but they don't know resistance. They are saying there's no struggles. But this white man, he admitted it. Maybe he saw it in, he saw the sickness within their own people. He need to dominance. Maybe he tear for equality, or the fear for equality, or the fear of seeing a free, independent, self-loving black prison. What I should do first, as black people, we must name it. It is time to flip the obsession. What do? First, we name it. We stop calling it curiosity. We stop calling it admiration. We call it obsession, independence, or obsession mixed with fear. And I say this, the day we realize we stop performing to their concerts, stop watering down our power, we will stop trying to fit in a system that was never built for us or for black people. And if we boycott, we boycott it all. We boycott the lies, the economic trap, the educational distortion, the religion manipulation, and the so-called democracy that was built. We should stop to fit in where we was never built for. The country was never built for black people. All we do is boycott. We boycott it all. The oppression, the economic traps, education distortion, religious manipulation, and the so-called democracy that even never showed up. Democracy has never showed up. Let's boycott the white system and build our own. Let's center our power and create our narrative. Let's raise black people or black children who didn't ask permission to shine. Because the truth is, they have been obsessed with our greatness since day one. But now, we are not admiring, we are aware, we are awake, and we are rising. And to my African brothers, you think you coming to America maybe is a slay or everything. But just know, even the white people, they want to be like you. Tell me what you think in the comments about this video. Until next episode, peace out.